What's up, everybody? Welcome to Group Chat Football Live. I am here with the Fink. Got a great list of players we're going to be breaking down here all across the country. Yeah, you're seeing teams emerge, you're seeing a playoff race, but there are a lot of underrated studs that are emerging that you're going to be hearing about as we get into the playoff, as we get into the draft. We're going to talk about them first here on Group Chat Sports. Remember to like and subscribe to the show. We'll be going live now back on this channel, cutting up all the videos as well of the various players. Fink, how we feeling?
Man, I'm feeling good. I'm a little nervous. As a Kentucky fan, we got Louisville in basketball tonight. I cover Florida State. They've got Florida in basketball tonight. So, as we shift into a little bit more of basketball season, I'm getting a little nervous. But I've got my ring on. Where we're I'm locked in for this Kentucky game. I have no faith in Louisville, and ultimately, I'm just happy that Mark Stoops was able to pull it out this past weekend, and I'm excited to talk about some of these underrated players.
You got a double right there with Kentucky taking care of the Gators for your Wildcats and your Knowles. But yeah, a lot of players stepping up. We profiled your boy at quarterback last week, but now we're switching to the running back position, and this is a guy that first look I see this guy. I thought it was Adrian Peterson. It's not that Adrian Peterson. It's not the guy that we saw run for 2,000 yards, but Adrian Peterson from Georgia Southern, originally from Florida. And the guy that reminds me of him, Antwan Raymond out of Rutgers. This guy's on an absolute heater right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's been arguably the most productive, if not the best overall running back in the Big Ten this year. Just phenomenal production throughout this year so far. This is a guy who he's just a true sophomore, 5'11, 205 pounds, came out of Florida, three-star recruit, but actually he's not from Florida. He went to Clearwater Academy International, which is now disbanded, but they put out some guys when they were together. And he's a guy from Montreal, Canada. He just looks the part, man. Like, he went for 1,900 yards on 9 yards per carry and 22 touchdowns in 10 games as a senior for CAI. I just don't really understand how he was ranked so low. And what really brought him to my attention is this week's performance. 41 carries, as you can see here. We've got some of the highlight carries cut up, but 41 carries in a game, 240 yards, one touchdown, 17 missed tackles forced this week against Maryland. He's been one of the most productive backs in the entire Power Four this year as a true sophomore. This is a guy, like, I couldn't really find much background on him, but with those CAI guys, you always kind of question how long have they even been playing football, coming from other countries. And this is a guy who looks like he's been playing football his whole life. I don't know if that's the case, but very natural, instinctive running back.
Yeah, very natural back. You said it. The production's crazy. You raised the question, is he the best running back in the Big Ten? Could be, certainly. It's a little bit down year for Ohio State. Justice Haynes, pretty dynamic. But man, this guy is putting up crazy numbers. Rutgers really started to become a running back factory. Right, you look at recent history, but this Montreal, Canada to Florida pipeline has been happening for a while. I know FSU, your team's been taking advantage. You think of Akeem Messidor from
Yeah.
Ottawa, Canada, who went to school in Clearwater as well. Chattanooga, Tennessee, also a spot where you'll find some of these Canadian transfers. Shaquille Mills-Knight just signed with Ole Miss, a part of this pipeline. But yeah, look, it's obviously working because this guy came in ready to play. He was good as a freshman, even better now as a sophomore. Already got 1,000 yards. So maybe we'll see more of these players because they're not just coming over here to come over here. They're making an impact at a pretty high level at really multiple positions: defense, offensive line, and here on running back.
Yeah, no, you said it well. I mean, he's already got 1,000 yards. That's the ninth player in Rutgers history to have an 1,000-yard season, and he's far from done. But those CAI guys, they play both sides. They don't typically have a full-size team because their entire team is made up of, and this is a program that's no longer existing, but I really enjoyed watching them when they did exist. And you have guys like this who are playing both ways. They're playing all game, and it's just gamers. It's a team built off of gamers, guys who maybe they don't have the best technique, maybe they don't have the best athleticism, but like they've got their guys ready to play both sides of the ball for an entire game. And Antwan Raymond has just completely translated that physicality and all of that up to this level. He's got 61 missed tackles forced this year, 1,000 yards. Those are both third in the Power Four. And he's got 733 of those 1,000 yards have come after contact. So, and that's second most in the country so far. So this guy, like, he's a true sophomore. He can't even declare for the draft, and he's putting up some of the best numbers in every single advanced statistic in the country right now, and he can't even declare.
Yeah, I had to pull up the high school stuff. I have a quick trigger finger with the high school highlights. I'm always curious how these guys look at that level. You mentioned the physical development. He looks a little skinnier here than he
Definitely
is now. Obviously, look, he's been in college for a couple of years, but you do see a pretty big progression. You mentioned the yards after contact. That's one of the reasons why I made that Adrian Peterson comp. Again, not the Adrian Peterson, but the Georgia Southern Adrian Peterson, because he was a guy that just bounced off a ton of tackles, even though he was not like a 230-pound back, probably more of a 205, 210 back like Raymond. But you see, it's a natural running style. He's quick laterally. A guy like Shakai Mills-Knight, who took the Chattanooga pipeline from Canada. I believe he was also a Montreal kid, if I'm not mistaken. He was much more of a straight line kind of track runner, right? Which you can imagine. There's some big, fast guys up there in Canada. With Raymond, I think you're getting just a more classic running back profile, the patience. And look, I mean, what did Monagai go? Where did he go in the draft?
like fifth or sixth, I think. And what's his name? Chiefs went seventh,
Pacheco.
and that was obviously too low. So
Pacheco. Yeah,
Pacheco, yeah.
I think he's probably the most like laterally quick type of those dudes. I mean, Pacheco's fast as can be, and Monagai was a beast, but this guy's just got a little more lateral to me, a little more make you miss.
Definitely. I think that's if you compare him to those two guys, I think that's kind of the defining trait here for Raymond. And man, like you keep him around, you pay up for this guy because he has been the most productive back in the Big Ten this year. So if you pay up for this guy, and I believe Kalik Manis is out of eligibility, you still have those receivers, but you aren't going to be able to lean on the passing game. So if I'm Rutgers, man, and I'm committed to football, I'm paying up and I'm going to get this guy back for this year because I think we could potentially be looking at like a top 5 back in next year's class if he decides to declare.
Yeah, he probably could do some damage this year. If I were him, I'd be pretty upset because this is a weak running back year right after the great one you had last year. Last year was absolutely loaded. This year, once you get past the Notre Dame guys, I think it's a little thin. He'd fit 100%. In right in, but obviously he's got to wait his turn. Probably going to want to maximize his NIL opportunities, like Justice Haynes, right? He's living pretty good up there in Michigan, and then he'll have a chance to go into the NFL. So be interesting to watch the situation with Raymond. But for right now, Rutgers has a tremendous tailback that they can get excited about.
Yeah, I mean that Rutgers offense has been fun to watch with Kalik Manis at quarterback, KJ Duff and Ian Strong at receiver, and then we've got this super talented sophomore running back in Antwan Raymond. It's they get a lot of plays. They play a little bit with some tempo offensively, but man, they really rack up stats. It feels like that Rutgers offense.